And let's talk about the debate with Christopher Bedford, editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller. He's also the author of The Art of the Donald. Chris, thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me.
So we saw these debates. This is the second series of debates. What stood out for you last night?
I thought it was going to be 2 hours, and it ended up being 3 hours. I think America may have been dozing, but last night was a bit more of a bloodfest than the previous debates. Kamala Harris differentiated herself in the first debate by coming out more viciously than anyone expected. Most of those folks were trying to paint a very positive picture. And last night's debate, people went at each other like their lives depended on it, or at least their presidential aspirations, which for many of them it did. And it was probably, despite Delaney showing some incredibly good fundraising numbers today, his team reports 10 times his fundraising levels, it was probably among the last gasps of the moderates of the Democratic Party, folks coming forward and saying, why are we going to do Medicare for all? Why are we going to decriminalize the border? Why are we going to do all of this? Let's hold back and try to actually pass legislation that will go down the middle. I'll be surprised to see them in the next debate.
Really? I mean, this is one of the big issues that we saw last night on the stage, was this issue of how far left is too far left. Is there an answer to that question from last night's debate?
Well, I think the answer to that will come in November of next year for sure, because if the way that they're pushing this far left is not going to play well, I don't think, in the general election, and with winning back Trump's supporters, and President Trump is going to be, a lot of Trump's supporters left the Democratic Party. They felt abandoned. All these ideas right now of displacing the union guys more for international treaties, for the environmentalists, for all that, that's not going to win them back.
One of the issues that was not brought up last night was the issue of abortion. And I want to read to you what Planned Parenthood, they were not happy with the line of questioning last night. Here's what they said. They said, as the American people decide their vote, they deserve to hear about the candidates' visions for how they will protect and expand access to abortion. We call on the Democratic National Committee and CNN to ensure that efforts to protect abortion access are discussed. So looking ahead to tonight's debate, do you think this tweet, these series of tweets are going to change things and there'll be questions tonight on abortion?
They're typically responsive, and usually if Planned Parenthood's upset, that makes most good people happy. But they have a point here in that I think Catholics and non-Catholics have a right to understand if these candidates stand for unrestricted access for abortion. That's something that dominated the beginning. It became a litmus test of sorts during the last primary round, and it's something that should be explored. I think it may be explored more, but I do think I will give it to the moderators last night, not so much Don Lemon at all, but the other two, Jake Tapper and Dana, that they did keep the questions good, and I thought it was a well-moving debate that did focus on issues that were still of national importance.
That was one of the criticisms, was the time limits were so short that some people got wound up and they just had to stop right then and there. They didn't get to finish their thoughts.
It was a couple of stump speeches, and people should stop. They should stop trying to tell personal stories halfway through their time. They did that over and over again, and they always got cut off.
I want to talk again about tonight's debate. Joe Biden, the front runner, is going to take that stage, and he did get knocked around last time by Kamala Harris. Some very difficult questions. What do you think he needs to do tonight to help his chances of winning this nomination?
And that was so unbelievable, to be so viciously attacked and called a racist, even though she said, I'm not calling you a racist, on 50-year-old busing policy that was bad politics, bad policy, and hurt neighborhoods. She came at it, and it turns out she wasn't actually entirely truthful in her own experiences with busing, maybe exaggerating. But he had some of the best debate coaches that the Democratic Party has to offer. He had all the preparation he has to offer. The problem is when you get removed from power, even for a few months, and from constantly exercising your mind every day, as Joe Biden did, it seemed that he may not quite have the old political acumen to take it on again, and his supporters will be watching very closely to see if he does.
We'll see if he recovers tonight. Chris Bedford from the Daily Caller, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.